Coming up next on CTV News, high water levels wreak havoc for motorists. And the Maryland General Assembly kicks off its 2024 legislative session. We have team coverage.
Coming up, the 2024 Maryland General Assembly session kicks off today with a host of new measures on the agenda. I'll have that story up next on CTV News.
Governor Wes Moore says he'll be staying involved in state legislative affairs this year. We'll have the story coming up next on CTV News.
Maryland is doing big things again. And the reason that Maryland's doing big things again is because we're actually doing them together. We're doing them in partnership between the executive branch and also the legislative branch.
That plus more coming up next.
Good evening, I'm Byron Scott with the CTV News Update. Well, yesterday's heavy rain resulted in flooded roadways across Prince George's County. First responders are busy rescuing stranded motorists stuck in high water. The county's fire department responded to 10 water rescues from last night into this morning. Fire crews pulling 2 people from a car on Water Street up a Marlboro at around 3:30 this morning. That area in the county in Upper Marlboro is prone to flooding. In a separate incident in Beltsville, one man is currently in critical condition after being pulled from a rising water by a Good Samaritan. Meanwhile, Bowie State University is closed for students due to a power outage following last night's storm. All winter sessions will take place virtually until further notice. Classes at the University of Maryland were also delayed and moved to virtual instruction. Well, today marks the beginning of the 446th legislative session in Maryland. Patricia Vallone reports on opening day and a slew of new bills being introduced.
Welcome to the 446th legislative session of the Maryland General Assembly.
The 2024 legislative session in Annapolis kicked off this afternoon in the Senate and House chambers. A host of new bills have already been presented or planned, including measures dealing with the state's housing shortage.
While we see some people moving from areas like New Jersey, New York that are higher cost of living than us, some folks in Maryland are moving to the Carolinas and Florida or Pennsylvania that are lower cost of living states. And this is driven in large part by housing, and so really focusing on ensuring we have housing stock for all.
Working on affordable housing is going to be a critical component. You know, as folks are worried about inflation, the number one driver for families in increased prices is housing costs. And so in Maryland, we've got to find a way to make housing more affordable for all levels of the income spectrum, and I think we have some good ideas about how to move that forward this year.
The high cost of prescription drugs will also be back on the agenda this session.
It's been difficult. We've seen drugs become more and more short. We've seen the price of pharmaceuticals also go up. And that means that a lot of people are struggling to be able to put food on their table. It means that folks are not able to see their primary care provider when they really need it. And that leads us to backups in the emergency department that we're seeing skyrocket throughout the state as well.
Our Prescription Drug Affordability Board, the first in the nation, took effect in 2019 and has the authority to make high-cost drugs more affordable for state and local governments, which is great. But this year we're going to push for legislation to broaden their authority to make high-cost drugs more affordable for all Marylanders.
So far, more than 500 bills have been introduced this session, and it's only day one. From Annapolis, Patricia Vallone, CTV News.
And Governor Wes Moore made his presence known today at the State House and gave some indication of the causes he would be supporting this session. CTV's Mariah Jalad has the story.
Governor Wes Moore spoke just prior to the Maryland General Assembly session today. He previewed expectations for a tight budget to be released next week, and he made clear that he will be having a hands-on approach in this legislative session.
You will see me testifying. And I know that's it's a departure from what we've seen historically, but I get into the details of these things. I get into the weeds of these bills. There are going to be certain bills that I am not just going to advocate and back, but I will be personally testifying on behalf of as well.
He also emphasized that his administration is taking Purple Line completion seriously.
I would say to the people of the Purple Line, it's a classic example of the fact that we've got to do better as a state. This is a project that has been overrun, it's been overdue, it's been off track, and it's necessary.
Governor Moore said he will be sponsoring several bills this session, and we'll be bringing you the story when he does testify. Mariah Jalad, CTV News.
And the governor's draft budget is due January 17th, 1 week into session. Well, the Prince George's County Executive unveils her top budget priorities. Angela Alsobrooks' plan includes $60 million in capital funding for healthcare infrastructure. Priorities also include funds for the Blue Line Corridor, money for a film studio in the Arts and Entertainment District, and funds to help create a walkable downtown Lagos area. Alsobrooks' plan will also include money to help the county address its environmental goals. And Prince George's police are investigating a fatal shooting that happened in Capitol Heights last night. Officers were called to the 5300 block of Sheriff Road just before 11:30 p.m. When police arrived, they found a man inside a vehicle suffering from gunshot wounds. He later died at a local hospital. Anyone with information in the incident is asked to contact police. And 8 people were transported to a hospital after a multi-vehicle car crash this morning in Beltsville. Crews were called to the 11,000 block of Good Luck Road just after 10:30. One person was medevaced to a nearby hospital for life-threatening injuries. 7 others were taken to a hospital by ambulance. One of those had life-threatening injuries. 4 others, police say, have serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Another fatal shooting this afternoon. Officers were called to the 2800 block of Berrywood Lane in Springdale at around 12:30. An adult male was found inside a home suffering from gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are asking anyone with information to call Crime Solvers at 1-866-411-TIPS. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. The summer EBT program will be kicking off soon. Stay tuned to hear a little more about the benefits. Back in a moment.
If anyone knows the joy of rescuing animals, it's me. Just ask my rescues, who are all very important members of my family. Your life can also be forever changed by adopting a shelter pet. And it's not just about the happiness your pet gets from finding a loving home, but that which you'll get from bringing them into your life. The heroes at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years. You can learn more at americanhumane.org.
U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin continues to recover from a medical procedure related to prostate cancer, but there is still controversy surrounding the department's failure to notify the White House of Lloyd's illness or hospitalization until yesterday morning. According to the Pentagon, Austin had surgery at Walter Reed Medical Center on December 22nd. He went back to the hospital on January 1st due to complications. Austin's infection has gone away and he continues to recover. And in 2023, the Maryland General Assembly passed the Child Victims Act, which lifted the statute of limitations for lawsuits alleging child sex abuse. That law is the focus of a constitutional challenge by the Archdiocese of Washington, with briefs filed against the Washington Diocese and Montgomery and Prince George's counties. Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown is following through on a pledge to defend the law. The legal challenge to the law came in November when the Archdiocese argued it was unconstitutional. Brown says what the Archdiocese is calling for goes against the consensus of federal law and the reasoned opinion of many other states. And the U.S. Department of Agriculture has announced that 35 states, all 5 U.S. territories, and 4 tribes will launch new grocery benefits this summer. Maryland is among the states offering the summer program, which officials say will benefit 21 million children nationwide. Under the new program, states will provide families with $120 per eligible child to buy food at grocery stores, farmers markets, or other eligible retailers. It's called Summer Electronic Benefit Transfer and kicks off this summer. For more information, go to the website on your screen. And cancer survivors and patients across Maryland are celebrating a new law that just took effect. The measure increases insurance coverage for biomarker testing, making the procedure available to more Marylanders. A biomarker captures what is happening inside a cell or organism. The change is expected to bring precision medicine to patients dealing with cancer and other diseases, including arthritis, autoimmune conditions, and rare diseases. Proponents say the expanded access could improve the quality of life for many.
There are protein biomarkers, and there are also biomarkers in genes that can really help someone's clinician understand what's going on with their condition. It truly unlocks precision medicine for patients.
Until now, many Marylanders covered by state-regulated health plans, including Medicaid, which is the public health insurance could not receive coverage for the comprehensive biomarkers testing. And this is really important because it improves the lives of people that are suffering from, for example, cancer, and the outcomes are a lot better.
For more information on precision medicine and cancer biomarkers, log on to fightcancer.org. Well, an arrest was made in connection with a fatal shooting that happened in the Bowie area last December. The suspect is 18-year-old Harvey Barnes of Upper Marlboro. He's accused of fatally shooting 37-year-old Timothy Jones. Police say Barnes shot Jones during a dispute. The suspect is charged with first and second-degree murder and is being held without bond. Anyone with information is asked to contact police at 301-516-2512. And now to our sports reporter, Simon Buggs, with the Wednesday Sports Page.
What's going on, sports fans? And coming up on your Wednesday Sports Page, UMD head football coach Mike Locksley gets recognized for the great work he's done off the field. That story and more coming up in a bit. Don't go anywhere.
Diversity is in our nature. It is in nature, too. Biodiversity. It connects us and sustains us. But nature's biodiversity is at risk more than ever before, and the future of all life is in our hands. So what will you do? Love it or lose it?
Okay, everyone, it's time for your Wednesday Sports Page. Terps head football coach Mike Locksley has done good work on the field, but the work he's done off of it is even more impressive. Locksley was honored earlier today for making the Washingtonians of the Year list for 2023. This list honors 10 people a year who are making a positive impact in the area. And Locksley has certainly done that, as he is currently on the board of directors for the Boys and Girls Club in D.C. and also donated $10,000 to them after the Terps win against NC State in the Dukes Mayo Bowl game last season. Locksley also started the National Coalition of Minority Football Coaches back in 2020, an organization that helps prepare and promote minority coaches in all levels of football. The DC native is also a huge advocate for mental health, dedicating one Terps football game a year to mental health awareness. He also keeps 2 mental health professionals on his staff for his players. Sticking with Terps sports news, the women's basketball team was in action last night, taking the court against Michigan State. The Lady Terps played well in the first half, jumping out to a 29-22 lead. But despite the Lady Terps' defensive efforts, in the second half, the Lady Spartans began to crawl back into the game and even took the lead. And they kept it as Maryland lost 74-69. Maryland's next opponent will be Ohio State on January 17th. Meanwhile, Bowie State guard Kevon Corley continues to put together a strong rookie campaign, as he was named the CIAA Rookie of the Week for the 3rd time this season. In one game last week against a CIAA rival in St. Augustine's, the Glenarden, Maryland native put up 13 points and 4 boards. While in another game against Fayetteville State, he put up 5 points and an assist, putting his total at 18 points off the bench for the week. Corley and the rest of the Bulldogs will take the court next on Saturday versus Shaw University. And that is your Wednesday Sports Page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. Let's get a quick check now on our 3-day weather forecast tonight. Temps will be in the low 30s with wind gusts of up to 39 miles per hour. Thursday, it'll be sunny with the high of 51. The rain returns on Friday afternoon with the high of 53. And Saturday, sunny but breezy with temps in the low 40s. And that's our news tonight. I'm Byron Scott. We'll see you tomorrow, 4:30. Good night.